Hello friends, my name is HBK and this is HBK Kings Gaming Live on the PlayStation and YouTube network. Even though it says Gaming with Attitude, today is a special episode. And in today's episode, I will talk about the latest new creative map that Fortnite and the Royal Canadian Legion have made. So, without further ado, sit back, enjoy the show, as we will show you the map of Remembrance Island, where Fortnite and the Royal Canadian Legion will show the young generation some respect about the veterans that gave their lives for our freedom. Back in those days, we will talk about the wars of World War One, Two, the Korean War, Afghanistan, and all that stuff. It'll be all interesting stuff. Why? As soon as I go into the match, which I'm about to right now. Without further ado, as we load up, you see I've put a nice little setting in the background for the loading screen. I'm going to show you, I'm not going to talk too much during the video other than some added facts about this. Of Canadian veterans and their sacrifice. And why to honor your veterans and honor the veteran families who gave their lives for our freedom. Now, as you can see, I'm at the creative place here. I'm going to quickly go to a place that I can put the code in. There is a code that Fortnite has issued out. It was viewed on CTV. And without further ado, let's enter this code. Alright, the island is found, as you can see. This is the code. The code is 5053 3302 4847. And with that, let's load the thing up. And with that, here we go. We're loading up the screen. Please, Fortnite is asking you to show some respect. Now, the cool thing about this is a non-violent server. That means when people show up here, you can't hurt anybody whatsoever. Without further ado, let's go to the island. Now, as you can see, here's some details where it's welcome to Remembrance Island. There is no battle here, only respect for Canadian veterans who fought for our freedom and made the ultimate sacrifice. And like I said, it'll be about World War One, Two, the Korean War, Afghanistan's, and then the place where we honor these people. Follow the poppies, head to the memorial, honor the fallen with a salute, and the moment of silence, stream share, and tell your friends, hashtag salute the poppies, visit, of course, the Royal Canadian Legion's Poppy Donation Trust, hashtag lest we forget. And without further ado, let's start our journey on the history of our Canadian veterans and the Allies. Restart the game. Now, as you see here, We start at the beaches of Normandy. These is what our Canadian veterans saw when they stormed the beaches of Normandy. So without further ado, now as you can tell, just a quick note here, I've already been here. As you see, I can jump right to the thing, but I'm not going to, because then I can't show you the histories of this. Like I said, I will go up to the writing, pause for a few minutes, give you time to view it, and without further ado, here we go. The beaches of Normandy. And now, like I said, I am only going to show you the writing. I am not reading this. I'm only going to do it, give you time to read this, and with that, here we go. Okay, on to the next one. Now let's quickly look here. That is the beaches of Normandy, and that's what they faced. And without further ado, we move up to the next spot. And this is when the beaches of Normandy happens. Another special day. So remember June 6, 1944. So June 6 is an important day to veterans as well, and to us allies. So without further ado, there is the thing. D-Day is where the Allies began their massive attack on the beaches of Normandy. Now, a cool, interesting fact about the beaches of Normandy here, before we get to the next spot, is it was a cloudy day. They were originally going to cancel this mission. True fact. Luckily, they did it because they actually surprised Germany with this attack, which was what changed the war for us. We were actually at a point where we could be losing to Germany, the Allies was. And straight out, so just so you know, June the 6th, 1944 is an important day, and luckily, we surprised Germany, and with that, there we go. Also, a fact. The fact is that, with this being said there, we distracted the Germans, so they were not expecting us to come here. Especially on a cloudy day. Were they surprised? Now, German commanders said they should have bulked up in this area, and the overall commanders did not listen to this person. Hello, Austin and Jenna. So, anyways, without further ado, we go to the next spot. I'm gonna move up here quickly. Now, before we move there, let's go this way for a second. Oh, no, I don't want to go that way. Let's go this way here. Here we go. So, this is another important history about our Canadians. Liberating Europe. So when we get to this, here we go. Now, 8 kilometers. That's a large stretch for a coastline. Now, luckily, at this point of the war, a important part was there wasn't that many German planes left. So our Air Force kept, the Allies' Air Force kept Germany busy to help the Allied soldiers to get to the beaches of Normandy. Now, this is an important fact right here, which many people don't realize how many lives were lost. Now, even though the Normandy beach was the beginning of the end, which was June 6, 1944, it took us 11 months to end the war in World War II, making Japan the last people against us to end the war, because by then the Germans had fallen and Hitler was dead. Now let's quickly go up here. You imagine yourself as a German. Cloudy day, very hard to see. But imagine yourself as a young Canadian soldier, or even an American soldier, or any of our allies, and gotta go up these hills, getting shot with machine guns, grenades, everything, rocket launchers, tanks, stuff like that. That was very tremendous, and that's why we lost a lot of soldiers, and a lot of soldiers we lost on that day alone. Now, that was World War II fact. This section here, we're going to talk about World War I fact. And before I get to the end of this trip, I will read a special note that was brought on the internet today about a World War I soldier that wrote a letter to his mother. A very important letter. This is the trenches. Of course, there were trenches in World War II, but this is the trenches that the World War I people had to experience. Now, as we get here, you will see what happened during World War I, during the war. That's in February of 1915. The dirt, disease, and deaths of the trenches. A lot of soldiers in World War I died as well, where we will get to the list of that soon. Here we go. Now, cool fact, and I will bring this as a cool fact. To you young people out there, there is actually a movie called The 100 Days. The 100 Days were people that I grew up watching, that your parents grew up watching as kids. Stars like John Wayne, the Duke himself, and others. But another cool fact about this movie, which, by the way, this movie made a lot of money back in the day. Now, if you think about the money it is today and back then, you don't think it's much when you hear how much they made. But if you kind of estimate it, this movie was huge for the network, for the producers and the people that put this movie together. But another cool fact about this movie is during the movie of 100 Days, there were actually World War veterans from World War II in this movie, playing as either themselves or as other people in the part where they were during that part. So, cool fact, there were veterans in this movie. If they ever remake this movie, I hope they do it well. But if they do not remake this movie, check out The 100 Days. It was a very good movie and a lot of true facts about the movie. Check out The Veterans on YouTube and you'll see itself. Now here's the other thing. Now this is back when the day that is going to be the most important day for our veterans. For us Canadians, it's Remembrance Day. Look at that number. A lot of lives. And I also will bring up a story about that young man that wrote a letter to his mother during this war and what happened in the end. The Pool of Peace. Now look at this beautiful piece of land. This is beautiful land, isn't it? Now I'm going to take you to a fact about this beautiful land that you may not know. And this involved the Germans, where they were here holding ground. Now imagine, World War I. This is before we did the atomic bomb for the Allies. Imagine if we had the atomic bomb back then. We might have not had World War II. Maybe, maybe not. But I will say, I do not think nuclear weapons should have been used, personally, because now we have too many and we can't get rid of the stuff. True fact. Now this is when this attack happened. Now imagine yourself 3 a.m. Yeah, chilling out, having a cigarette, drinking a couple cold ones with your fellow soldiers there, you Germans there. When, of course, we found out how deadly the Germans could be in World War II from a man named Adolf Hitler. This is what happened. The result of the blast set earth, steel, and concrete high into the air, lightening the sky on fire, killing an estimated 10,000 Germans that day. Now, of course, you look at it, how nice it is. But just imagine 10,000 Germans sitting back, relaxing, you know, covering their spots. And then all of a sudden, boom! Now, before I take you to that spot, I'm going to take you to a spot over here. Now, you can see the memorial, but this, like I said, we are talking about World War I, II, Korean War, and Afghanistan. What I'm going to bring to you is about a day that changed the world 19 years ago. Well, actually, it might be, sorry, 18 years ago. And the Americans know this one well. And so do us Canadians. I know where I was that day. I came home, ready to go to bed from a night of hard work at the bar. It was a long night, chilling out. I came home, was ready to go to bed, but something told me to turn on the TV that day. Something that I wished never happened to any person, any innocent person out there. And that was this day. September 11th is a day that us allies and mainly Americans will never forget. And I feel for all those people that lost their lives that day. I could never imagine what it was like. Now, true fact, I actually had a friend of mine that I knew back in the day. He was trying to be an art student. He was heading to the classes down there. He was only maybe 10, 15 blocks away when that attack happened. It was tremendous and heartbreaking that day. Now this is the thing, there's nothing up there, I'm not going to take you there, but now we'll go through here. Whoops. Now think about this. This is September of 2006. 50 years ago. Now 50 years ago was 1956, and the last time we had that many people do this, 50 years ago, was the Korean War. The Vietnam War, as the Americans will call it, but it was also known as the Korean War. Now I'm going to quickly run through here. And as you can see, my person I picked is a military guy. I'm going to go through here, read this here. Now this is a true fact about us Canadians. Now of course I know Americans lost a lot more lives, but us Canadian peacekeepers, to try to help restore the peace before we were officially declared ended in March of 2014, we lost that many lives. The Americans at the time, I think, were about 400, 500 plus, I believe. Don't quote me on it, I could be wrong. Now I can go through that rift and take me right to the memorial, but I will not. Now as you can tell, just so you know, you cannot go through these doors. This is only a site. Now over here, I believe there's another thing of writing. I think. Maybe not. I could be wrong. I thought there was. I apologize. So let's go to what Americans and Canadians had to deal with the Taliban and Bin Laden's troops back in those days. And what us Canadians had to deal with. Now, I'm going to quickly run through here, because the more important thing will be where I go back. The next spot of this video I am going to show you is about the Korean War, the Vietnam War. besides the Americans and the rest of the Allies and us Canadians, you're gonna find out about this one hill. Here we go. This is how it all started back in 1950. So the UN could not get North or South Korea to agree on peace. So of course, they had to employ the Allies. Of course, the Americans went in first. Us Canadians joined shortly after. As you can see, the Korean War was one of the deadliest wars for us allies. For the Americans a lot, and us Canadians. So, yeah. A lot of Canadians and Americans spent some time on that hill. And the last part about Korea is this. Now, I know America lost a lot more lives than us Canadians, and I feel for them. People still, from this day, go through a lot of loss. But still, for us Canadians, 516 brave soldiers lost their lives in the Korean War before they signed the peace treaty in 1956. Now I'm going to quickly run over here. I do apologize to be speaking in this spot, but I will get to the spot afterwards. I'm trying to make this video as short as possible. Now, note to self, I've actually tried this video 2 or 3 times, and every time it was over an hour. And I'm trying to get this done within 30 to 45 minutes tops. Now, one of the most important parts coming up here is this next part of the wars. There we go. Here we go. Now up here, we're going to read about this battle. And we're going to read about what the Germans, which is the people that made it really hard for us allies during war times. But mainly about World War I and World War II was the main thing. And of course, things have changed and they are more deadlier. Here we go. Let's see. I believe, yep, I almost passed it. This is back in WW1 now. We go back to WW1. Now, of course, as you can see, this is pretty much what was left of some of the structures in this area. Now we go to this spot here. And this is where the Germans used poison gas for the first time. We were very inexperienced at that time. But a true fact is going to be coming up soon about that fight. Yes, the Allies held on, especially us Canadians. True fact. And the fact of the matter is, people, young generations out there, this is what is well known. Now look at the couch. Look at that number. More than 2,000 people died. But Canada, in the First World War, was known as a force to be reckoned with. So, US, you underestimate us Canadians, but we are a force to be reckoned with, and we will help our allies, no matter the cost, for freedom and peace. Respect to all those people and all people. Now let's go down here. Now there's a kind of an interesting little hidden spot. If you look over here and you kind of jump up, you don't see it. But an interesting spot about this is, which I will show you before we get to the main spot. Now by the way, there is nothing up in either of these places. I've looked at every one of them, but surprisingly enough, I did come across one. Now, before we get through the thing, we will now get to the next important part. Check out a movie with Paul Gosling, I believe his name was. It's about a ridge, and this is where the memorial, the biggest memorial, is for our Canadian troops, other than the ones up in France. Now that was our official first victory as Canadian soldiers. All four divisions of the Canadian Corps attacked and were victorious together for the first time in World War One. You make fun of our winters at times, but just be known, we were a driving force. Now I'm going to go to this last part here before I head back. Respect to all those lives in those 3 days. Now here comes the hidden part. This is where I would like to say to Fortnite and the Royal Canadian Legion, thank you. So of course, as you notice, you see a little damage here, but you can't damage anything. See? You can't damage anything whatsoever. But that spot there, now you notice how there's damage there. It's a hidden spot. Now you think you go around here and you go up here. No, you can't. Just so you know. But go in this hidden spot and you'll come across another interesting spot. This is where Fortnite and the Royal Canadian Legion put a special memorial right here. And this is what the Royal Canadian Legion would like to say to everybody that shows up on Fortnite and does this. And does this creative mode. Thank you for the peace, the respect, and we salute the Royal Canadian Legion and the veterans of our allies on a day that will be a very important day where we honor our veterans. Now, as you can see, if you go back in the video, you will see all this stuff that I read, but now we get to the key point, which will be a key point tomorrow on this date and in this hour. So, to all you people out there, whoever plays Fortnite, Fortnite is encouraging you guys to come visit this site during the 11th hour, during the day or evening of tomorrow's date. But I ask that everybody all people out there, please, on this time, please take that moment of silence and show respect, because this is where it happened back in 1918, and where we honor our veterans of our allies. Now, for America, it is Veterans Day. For us Canadians, it's Remembrance Day. So let's go here and see what it says. This memorial stands for all who sacrifice the ultimate sacrifice It is here we pay our respects in tribute. At the 11th hour, on the 11th day of the 11th month. So anybody that does stream this, I ask this. When you go through here, this is where I ask you do your moment of silence as a Fortnite player and for you young generations out there. Please give the respect to these soldiers for our freedom. Of peace. Now, before I enter this spot, I'd like to bring out a special letter that I saw on the internet today, and I'd like to read it. This letter is a very important letter. This is back in World War I, a son that wrote to his mother. Of course, the date of this was September 13th, 1916, when this young man wrote a letter to his mother, why he was in the war, and why he was going to be part of a battle, a months-long battle in northern France. It reads as follows. Dear Mother, just a wee note. I am going over to prepare, and chances of sub getting back alive are about nix, which is pretty much not very good odds. If I do get back, why you can give me the horse laugh. If not, this will let you know that I kicked out with my boots on. In other words, he fought bravely for us back in that date. So cheer up, oh dear. Don't let the newspaper use you as a material for the Saturday magazine feature back in those days. That's what I'm adding a little bit there. You know, the kind where the sweet-faced, gray-headed little mother clutching the last letter of her boy to her breast, sobbing. E was such a fine lad, as she furiously brushed her tears away from her eyes with a dish rag, etc., etc. I'm going to tell you this in case my company commander forgets. Your son is a soldier, and a doggone good one too. If he does say it himself, as he shouldn't, and if he gets piped, it's be doing this booming job. In a way, it's darn funny. All the gang are writing post letters, basically letters, which is their last letter to their loved ones, to their mom, the dad, brothers, sisters, and the rest of their family. And kind of half of them are ashamed of doing it themselves. Now that's back in 1916. As one of our officers says, if I mail it and come through the show, I'll be a joke. If I tear up and get killed, I'll be sorry I didn't send you it. So he'd be sorry if he didn't send this letter to you. S. See there you why you are. Now just so you know, this young man, this young man, his name was Hart Leach. After he wrote this letter, he was killed in action 2 days later in the Battle of Marquine Farm. He was part of the 600 and it looks like 19th Beret. Check out that. Now, that is what these soldiers from World War One, II, the Korean War, and Afghanistan War, and the wars that's going on right now, for the ones that believe that this may be their last day. So please, tomorrow, on the 11th hour, on the 11th day, I ask you all to please take a moment of silence and show your respect to those fallen veterans who gave the ultimate sacrifice to our freedom. Now, before I end the stream, I am going to with a moment of silence, and I ask that please give me the respect of doing this. Now, please. I am Jenna, if you are watching this, please let me do this last thing. So, anyways, tomorrow is November 11th, which is Remembrance, which is September 11th is an important day. June the 6th, 1944 is an important day. September 11th, 2001 is an important day. 1956, the year 1956 is an important day. And overall, the biggest day importance of everything is November the 11th. November the 11th. On the 11th hour, on the 11th day, please give that moment of silence to the soldiers with their respect and salute. This is HBK, King of Kings, thanking you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it. And overall, another stream tomorrow on November 11th to see how many Fortnite people are here, and maybe talk again about the facts. Until then, this is officially HBK, King of Kings.
Hey, tomorrow's not September 11th.
Thanking you for November 11th.